Hi everybody, Angie here, coming on to do a quick make with you guys. This is going to be super quick and super easy make. I was doing some of these last night and I thought maybe I could share it with you guys. It might be of some interest to you guys. If you're ever trying to just pinch pennies and save a few dollars here and there, maybe not want to spend, from time to time. I know we try to do no spend months with our crafting supplies and this and that. So this fits in that category perfectly. If you want to just work with pieces that you have on hand and make little ephemera pieces, this craft is for you. I'm making some paper buttons. We use paper buttons for sewing journals and just overall ephemera pieces. They come in perfectly handy for any themed journal, to put on a tag or a journal card for just a little accent. Works beautifully. Paper buttons. So I was making some. Here's some that I have made, and I have another little bucket over there. I just pulled out a handful of them to show you what I was doing. All you have to do is, there's a couple ways that you can do them. You can use, basically you're just using your scrap pieces of paper, but you want a little bit of thickness to them to give a little bit of dimension when you're putting them on your projects. So if you have like empty cereal boxes and such like that, perfect weight for this project. And that's exactly what these are here. And I have a few, or like this works good. Exterior packaging from tags and different pieces like that. There was some tape on here. I saved those. I use them for journal cards. I use them for tags. I use them for different projects, but I also use them for this. It's just the right thickness. It's got a little bit of thickness to it, but not too thick. Okay. So all you do is basically just cut out your circles. These are my two favorite sizes. I have a 1-inch circle punch and a 5/8 inch. And I just cut out my circles. And this is just a really easy craft. You can do it while you're sitting watching TV, anything. See, like this package, it's perfect thickness. This is a postal mailer. When I receive mail, rather than throw them out, I cut them up, cut them down, and I reuse them as much as I can. So all you have to do is cut yourself out some circles. Like so, and then the smaller pieces, areas like that, that's where I come in with my smaller punch and just try to maximize my space so I waste as little bit as possible. And then I cut around and I keep going. So you know how to cut circles out of paper, so I don't need to go too far into that. But that's really all you do. And then what I do is I get my pretty scrap paper when there's little pieces and little bits, and I sit and do the same thing and cut out the same size circles. As you can see here, I have a variety of different pattern paper, and this is just all out of scraps. So I just sat and just cut some circles out, and then all I do is you just glue your pattern paper on top of your circle. Now see this one here? I will cover that piece. Okay, so that's where you let the and then just by chance, if that's exposed at any point or any portion of it, you won't see any of the bad side, so to speak. Okay, so just run a little bead of glue. You could probably even use a glue stick on this for this project. Glue stick would probably work just as fine. And glue it down. And like I said, this is a fun project, mindless project for when you're just sitting trying to get something done while you're watching TV. Simple as that. Okay, so take another one. And when I do my scraps, I try to look at the images, and if I can get a full part of an image, I try to do that. Like this was a flower there. Okay, so I look at my sides and I'll put the glue down on this side. Center them on there. Give them a little press. Just like in a little semi-line. Do all your circles and then just sit and paste them together. That's all you got to do. See, like this one's blank on both sides, so it doesn't really matter which side I glue the pattern paper to. And there we go. And just carry on. Okay, now if you wanted to go with larger circles, you could probably go with larger ones as well. This is just my preference. Usually 1 inch is the largest I will go for a button. Okay, and that's all you do. And then you do the same thing with the smaller ones. Okay, look at which side you want to cover, which side you want to have exposed. And cut out your smaller circles with your pattern paper and give it a little press. And that's all you need to do. Okay? Just that quick, just that easy, guys. Then from there, you just got to decide what you want to do with it. Do you want to just poke your holes and call it a day as far as a button? Just like these. As you can see, I've already did some of them. And I just eyeball it. Like I said, this is not rocket science here. I just take it, kind of imagine myself, oops, the middle of the circle, and I say, okay, right about there and right about there. And I prefer the smaller, I don't know if you can see that, the smaller hole punch. This is the standard. That's this size right here. Okay, and then this one is this size right here, just a little bit smaller. And I prefer this size. For the most part, I usually just use embossing thread when I use thread on these. But for some, you may want a little bit of a larger circle. You may want to pull a little bit of a, I got it right here, you know, a little bit of a bigger ribbon and tie a bow around that. That will easily fit into these larger holes. Okay. Just like that. Now for me, I'm just showing you this. Now look how pretty that is. Okay. You can just do it in a double knot. Like that. Trim it off the excess. Give it a little pull. Now, isn't that just cute? Just like that. Don't have to do anything. Super easy, guys. And that would be a cute little embellishment to put on a journal page, wherever you saw fit. Okay. Now, if you want, you can ink around the edges. I mean, as far as the decorating part, totally up to you. I mean, they're just little cute little paper buttons, but you can take it as far as you want. And that's pretty much all I do. I bring a little bit of ink just around the edges and some embroidery floss or a thin ribbon. And that's pretty much it. I don't do too much. Now, I did have laying on my desk a little puffy sticker, and it was almost the size of one of the circles, the 1 inch circle. So I just stuck that on there just to give it a try, just to see how it would look. Used some embroidery thread, floss there, made a bow. And I think that's very cute, just like that. As you can see, a little bit of dimension, but not too much. Look very cute on a journal, okay? And that's all you've got to do. Simple, easy, and fun, okay? And here's a few that I did, okay? And what I normally do, and here's one with just double knotted, just like that. Just really just depends on what your preference is. Okay. What I will usually do when I make these is I try to keep kind of neutral colors, earth tone colors, and I'll just do as many as I can until I get bored with it and get tired, and then I just throw them in a little basket and a little container, and then I have them on hand. And the reason I use neutral colors because I never know where or what page of a journal I'm going to use them on. So like this one, not that it wouldn't go, but you may say, oh, that won't go on this page, or this one may not go on this page. So if you keep the colors kind of neutral, you pretty much can just reach in, grab one, and go from there. Throw a bow on it, throw some ink on it, and you're good to go. Simple as that. So I hope that tip helps, and here's one again. And I just guesstimate where the holes should go. Isn't that just cute? Throw a little ink on it. And it's ready to go. Throw a little twine through the holes, and that is lovely. If you want to just use book page, another way, inexpensive. We all have old books that we use for our journals. Throw some book page on there. Nice vintage look on those. So that just gives you a really good idea of making some embellishments on literally pennies. Pennies, pennies, pennies. Okay, so give that a try if you haven't. Look at that. I just think it's adorable. You know, here's one, another idea. Here's one that I put a pattern paper on, but this was blank. So I took a small little stamp on there, inked it with black, and put a little stamp on there. I think I had a couple of them. Here's one. I stamped and put a little arrow on that one. Okay, just to fill up where there's, you know, maybe there might be a little bit of blank space. Here's one. I put a little heart. Okay, so totally up to you. I'm just trying to give you some ideas of what you can do. Okay, so you may not want to get out there and spend any money, but you want to make some cute little ephemera pieces and have some fun. This is it. Okay, so I'm going to push that aside, and I'm going to give you one more tip of another thing that I do from time to time. Another project that you can do at home for literally pennies. Absolutely nothing. Very easy and very effective. Bring in another piece of scrap paper, any piece that has a little bit of a design. It doesn't have to be a lot, a little bit of color. Here's another one that I have here. Here's a piece that I have here. And what I do is, let's start with this medium-sized one, okay, is to make your own washi tape. Now, I've seen washi tape being made where people take vellum and they use alcohol inks. Awesome, awesome way to do it. This is just another alternative of what I do. I take a piece of Scotch tape, take my digital scrap paper, and I run the piece of tape over paper like that. Okay, and depending on how big your scrap is, do 2, 3, 4 rows, just like that. And I prefer it to hang over the edges a little bit, just to hold the paper in place, because then once you get it down, you want to give it a really good burnish and a really good rub to make sure the tape sticks really well to it. Okay, and I usually take like a credit card, you know, a little gift card or something, work it down into the paper really well. Now, I do see that different types of tape work differently, whether you use Scotch tape or maybe the lesser inexpensive tapes from the dollar store, something like that. It does pull the paper up differently. So if you get a not quite as good of a pull sometimes, either the adhesion on the tape itself isn't very tacky, or you didn't, you know, burnish it down very well. So, but as long as you take a good 30 seconds, give it a good little burnish like I'm doing now. Okay. Then pull it up. And that's why I like this little bit of an extra. And just pull it away. And there you've got your very own washi tape. Okay. And then all you've got to do there is just tear away these little strip pieces here. Just like that. And you've got yourself some pretty washi tape. Now, it does curl on you, so you've got to kind of work it. And I'll usually take my bone folder, which is where? And I'll bring in my bone folder, kind of like when you're working with curling ribbon and at Christmas time, you know, and wrapping bows. It does curl on you. But there you go. Look at that. You got yourself a piece of washi tape. And then all you got to do is put it down with some glue stick. That's all you got to do. Okay, there's another one right there. Look at that. Isn't that cool? So easy. So just a couple ideas, guys, of how to pinch pennies. And, you know, maybe you want to just not spend any money on your craft items at any current time, but you want to make something fun, you want to make something pretty for your journals and to decorate with. Here are some very inexpensive ways to make some pieces to use in your journals and on your ephemera pieces. Now, another thing that you could take one step further, which I do from time to time. See, oops, I didn't get this one down. And it just pulls the print right up. I like those rough edges, okay? What I do with those is I bring in a little bit of ink, like some vintage photo. You might want to use black soot, whatever your favorite color is. Now that's a little bit too much, but you like the little bit, and it just gives it a little bit of an extra vintage look and vintage feel to it. And then you just glue it down onto your page however you choose. Now, another thing to know, let's see, look at that. Isn't that pretty? That is really, really pretty, guys. Look at that. Okay, and it tears very easily too. Like say maybe that is too thick. You want a more narrow piece, okay? Tears quite easily. Once you get it going, just get the piece started and just walk it down the middle. Or you could use your ruler and tear it that way too. Probably be a lot faster. Okay, and then bring a little ink to that piece. And if you don't want this whole piece, now I'm just showing you long strips. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? That is gorgeous to me. That would look awesome on any journal page wherever you choose to decorate. Okay. The longer pieces work better for me because then if you want a smaller piece, you can tear it off where you need it. Okay. I'm just going to grab a piece of scrap paper. And say I want to put this down along the edge of a piece of paper right here. All you've got to do, just bring in your glue stick. Oops. Run a little glue. And down we go. Now it is going to give you a little bit of shiny because of the tape, but I don't mind that so much because when you use washi tape anyway, you're not going to use a whole lot on a page. It's just going to accent the page. But look at that. Okay, so that's just an idea. Here's some that I've already done. I grabbed a handful of those as well, and I just throw them in a little bin. And when I'm ready to use them, they're right there. Here's a piece. I haven't inked it or anything yet, but say I didn't want that to be quite as wide. I would just tear that down. And some glue on there. And put your strips together however you want to decorate that page. Okay, here's some with just coffee dyed paper. Okay, here's some. I was trying a different technique. I was using some alcohol ink on the back side to see how much it would come through and show on this side. And I like that look as well. So again, another just quick idea. It's just some text paper, and I just use some alcohol inks on the underside. Now here's one that the tape did not pull up entirely. It left some splotches, but I like that look also. It kind of looks like chipped paint. You know, like the paint is coming off the wall or something. It looks very vintage. I like that look as well. So I will use that too. Okay, let's see. Here's another one, but I just cut it in half, tore it down the middle so it wouldn't be quite so wide. Here's one that just kind of a very vague print came up off of this one. Again, depending on how and where you use that on a page, that will look just fine. And I think that's all I grabbed. Oh, here's a couple Another idea, when I was working with my alcohol pens, I tried doing like a, not necessarily an ombre, but an ombre. I just grabbed the first three that I saw, but look at that. And I just inked on the back side. So then when you put it down, I'll use one of these. I think I like that. I want to keep that one. Okay, just run some glue down. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh my gosh, I absolutely love this. So that's it for my tips and tricks and money saving DIYs for you guys today. How to do some do-it-yourself washi tape with very inexpensive for pennies, and some DIY, make yourself some paper buttons. And you've got some really easy, fun, fast, ephemera bits and pieces to work with to decorating your journals. So I love both ideas, guys. I hope you like it. Hope you give it a try if you haven't already. Leave me a comment if there's any questions or anything that I can help you with. And that is it for today. Thank you so much for spending some time with me today, guys. Until the next video, take care and God bless. Bye-bye.